everybody, welcome to Garden Time with Belle. The day has finally come. It is a cool 48-degree morning here in my mid-Missouri Zone 6 garden, but the forecast is showing no more evenings in the 40s. I think our forecasted low for the next 10 days is at least 50 degrees or higher, and that means for this mid-Missouri Zone 6 gardener, it is time to plant gorgeous annuals, flowering annuals as a matter of fact. So I just cannot wait to take you along today. So in today's video, I'm going to be potting up 3 different large containers. These are my aquapot containers. I'll talk more about those in a little bit. They're self-watering and they are some of my favorite big containers that we have on the property. But before I show you in the greenhouse which plants I'm going to be putting in these pots, and there's a pot way over there behind the camera, I'm going to invite everybody to please like and subscribe to my channel. Doing that helps me grow my channel. It helps me put out more fun gardening content. I am just your average home gardener. I happen to have my certification as a Missouri Master Gardener, but I'm just like everybody else out there. I'm learning every day, every season, and I just love to share my passion for gardening with you all, and I love to hear from you. So please, please leave some comments about what kinds of flowering annuals are you ready to get in the ground or get in your containers this time of year. So let's just get into the planting. I'm going to grab the camera, we're going to go in the greenhouse, and I'm going to show you my stock, my gorgeous plants that have been in the greenhouse for a couple of weeks now, as I've been waiting and watching the forecast so that it's safe enough to get them out and get them planted. Saving my money for a long time and purchasing this greenhouse has been one of the best gardening decisions I have ever made, because as you can plainly see, I am able to take care of my plants until they're ready for planting. I'm able to start seeds. I have a lot of different things in trays that'll be going out. I mean, in the next 2 weeks, I will be planting. That is all this girl's gonna do. So if you watch my channel on the regular, you can expect most of my videos over the next 2 or 3 weeks will be all about taking you with me as I finally get to take these beautiful things out of the greenhouse and get them outside where they belong. So before I share with you which beautiful annuals are going to go out into these large containers, I just want to talk to you a little bit about what you're seeing inside the greenhouse. You know, some women out there love to spend their money on fancy clothes, handbags, shoe collections. I have some friends that are avid golfers and they spend a lot of money on their golfing, their golf memberships. They even travel to golf. But this gal, yeah, I save my money. I have a plant fund, and that's how I spend my money. I spend my money on gardening. And so I don't want this to be, you know, any comparison for anybody out there. You know, I don't want you to look at all of these plants and think, you know, there's no way I could do that, because I've been gardening a long time, everybody. I'm semi-retired. I don't have all those expenses I had when I was a young working mom. You know, I garden on a very small scale. I mean, some of you have heard my story. You've heard that the very first year of our marriage, we lived in a little teeny tiny townhouse with a tiny little concrete patio for our yard. And I grew my veggies and my herbs and flowers in 5-gallon buckets on that little tiny square of concrete. So you know what? It doesn't matter where you are in your gardening journey. I just hope that today, and all of my videos actually, just, you know, give you something to think about, give you some ideas to consider, and then you make it your own. Gardening is an art. It is not a science. There is no one right way to do any of this. You're never going to hear me say you must, you have to. I'm going to just share with you what works for me in my Zone 6 garden. And I make mistakes every single year. When we go on the next garden tour and I take you out into my raised bed, garden bed, yeah, all of my garlic I planted last October, 1 out of 40 plants made it. We'll talk about why. I think I figured that out. But my entire garden bed of garlic, it's gone. Like, it's not even there. So you know what? That's part of the journey. So I just wanted to share some encouraging words with anybody out there. Don't compare yourself to your neighbor, to your mom, to your sister, to your brother. Just do you. So which one of these gorgeous plants are going to go in my aqua pots outside of the greenhouse? Well, I have selected this for the wow, for the centerpiece. This is a branching sunflower. It's called the Suncredible Yellow Sunflower. I see this everywhere and people rave about it. They say it's just tremendous. This gets big and that's what I want. I want a big wow in these pots. And so right in the center of the pot, I'm going to place one of these. This branching sunflower gets 24 to 42 inches tall. Oh my gosh. Let's see how wide it says it gets. Let me turn the plant tag over and let's see if we can get in here. Let's see, spacing 24 inches wide. Okay, so that's going to be a beauty. I am going to surround the sunflowers with something else I have never grown, and it would be the Aromance mulberry nemesia. Apparently this is an award-winning annual, and I just thought, you know what, the Suncredible is going to get tall and big, and what could I underplant it with that would be complementary? And if that isn't gorgeous, the pinky purple with the yellow eye, I mean, oh, that'll play off the yellow of those incredible Suncredible sunflowers. I think that'll make a beautiful combo. All right, let's move down here because I'm going to go ahead and show you what I'm going to be planting in the other pot up closer to the house on one of our patios. This is one of two roses that I got from Proven Winners, and it's already budded up and the buds are starting to crack. My all-time favorite color of flowers are coral flowers. That peachy apricot, isn't that gorgeous? Check out my my fleece. Yeah, you can tell how much I love coral. Anyways, I have selected the reminiscent coral shrub rose, and let's see the specs on this one. It says here it will get 2 to 3.5 feet tall and 2 foot wide. So that is really going to fill in my big, huge container. And you need a big container for a rose like this. And I'm going to underplant that rose. Let me come over here and show you what I've selected for that. Now, this is another new one. I mean, I'm just branching out, guys. I am going for it this year. And I am going to plant under that rose Calibrachoa. Look at that yellow and pink and salmon. Oh, so let me get the tag out and share you a little bit with you. So this is called the Super Bell's Magic Double Grapefruit Calibrachoa. It gets, 6 to 12 inches tall, and it has sort of what people say a mounding and trailing habit. So yeah, I'm going to surround that gorgeous coral rose with these really All right, I've got my plants out here, so it's time to get started. Let me just share with you a couple of things. First of all, these aqua pots, I have done videos on them before, so I will try to leave a link in the description below about how you set one up, why I like them, but basically I love them because they're self-watering. Inside this big pot, this is about 24 inches wide, there is a nearly 3-gallon water reservoir in the bottom, and from that, there's a tube that comes up through the soil with an opening, this little daisy here, and that's where you water and fill the reservoir. In my experience, and this is south facing in my mid-Missouri, hot summer, I only have to fill these probably every 3 days. This time of year, I can probably fill that water reservoir up and, you know, go easily a week between watering. So I don't like to hand water. Some of you that follow my channel, you guys know that. So I'm very fond of self-watering containers. So I have enough things to water that it's like, oh, if I can eliminate that step from my daily gardening chores, I'll do it. Okay, so that's enough about the pot. Let me mention the soil. So the soil in this pot, and actually all of my pots that I'm going to be potting up this year, I have purchased soil actually from a local private nursery, and I'm using their blend. It is a commercial blend. I couldn't even tell you the name of it, but they sell it. And, you know, typically I've used Pro Mix in the past, high quality soil, but, you know, I thought I'm going to switch it up this year and try something else. So I asked them, you know, what do you all use to pot up all your gorgeous containers? And they said, we use this stuff and we actually sell it. So I think I bought 5 huge bags, because you just wait the next several videos. I'm going to need a lot of soil for all the different containers I'm going to be potting up. So anyhow, whatever your favorite potting soil is, go for it. Doesn't really matter. But a lot of people ask me, so that's what I wanted to share. Okay, the other thing is, absolutely, in my opinion, it is not necessary to dump all this expensive, valuable soil out every year and replace 100% of it. It's too expensive, number one. And secondly, it is just not necessary for large containers. Now, my hanging baskets, my smaller pots, yes, you want to swap out all the soil. In fact, at the end of the season, when you lift your flowers up anyways, it takes almost all of the soil because their roots have filled up a smaller container. But something like this, no way. What I like to do, and I've already done it actually, is I top it off with some fresh soil, usually about the top third or maybe just the top fourth. I'll amend it with fresh soil and compost, which I've already done. But I can also see, we've had a lot of rain, that the soil level has dropped down a little bit. So I've got my potting mix here. So I'm going to go ahead and top this off, and then we're going to get planting. As always, you want to leave at least an inch between the top of your soil and the top of the pot, because even though this is self-watering, I will water it in by hand on top to get it started, and then of course I'll use this little tube. But you know, if you have to end up watering it by hand, or if the rains come, you don't want it to be so high of soil that every time it rains or every time you water it in, then you've got soil, you know, spilling all over the outside of the pot. Okay, so this sun-credible yellow branching sunflower is going to go right smack dab in the middle, because again, it gets 2 to 3.5 feet tall and 2 foot wide, and this is a 2 foot wide container. So just imagine 1, 2, I mean 3, like, oh, isn't it going to be great? That beautiful yellow sunflower against the darker greenhouse, I think it's going to pop. And then on either side, I'm only planting 2 nemesias. This is that Aromanth mulberry, because they get about 10 to 12 inches tall, but they also spill over by about, I think it says, what, 18 inches. So I'm imagining these beauties will come up about yay high and then spill over and fill out either side. I do not cram my pots full of plants. I know you guys watch other gardeners that would take this 24-inch container and they'd probably put 8 plants in here. It's not necessary. If you are patient, things fill in, and it's a lot more cost effective. And a lot of those people that you watch that fill up their containers are either growers, sellers, or people that have lots and lots and lots of plants given to them. I purchased every one of these plants. I want to stretch my flower budget as far as I can. So I am a big proponent of many types of plants, depending upon the variety. You can maybe use 1 in a pot. And I actually have a really great little illustration. I'm going to put it on the screen now while I'm kind of talking about don't overplant. Take a look at this image. And this image that I'm going to be sharing shows you different kinds of annual flowers that you can take 1 plant and put it in a 9, 10, 12-inch pot, and it will completely cover the pot by, you know, maybe midsummer. So anyhow, that's my encouragement to everybody. You do not need to cram your pots full. Of course, if you're having an event and you're, you know, short on time and you want instant impact, go for it. But gosh, plants are expensive. Everything's expensive in 2026, but plants are very expensive. So I would rather stretch mine and be patient and have the joy of seeing them come to life. Okay, enough talking, more planting. So what I'm going to do, when I dig my hole, I am going to use, oh, where is it? Oh yeah, I want to show you. I'm going to use this slow release fertilizer. This is the continuous plant food from Proven Winners, and all of these plants are Proven Winners. But get your best, whatever you want, whatever brand you like. It doesn't have to be this one, but get the slow release fertilizer. And in the past, I was using Biotone, which is a great organic root starter, and this. I think that's overkill. I did some experimenting last year to see if there was a difference, and there really isn't. Anything that I plant down into my landscape, I do like to start with Biotone and then other kinds of fertilizers, but with my annual plants this year, I'm not going to do that. I am going to just put that in each of the holes and plant it in. Now, before I know I'm still talking about fertilizer, aren't I? What is essential for your annual flowers that pump out blooms, you have to fertilize them weekly. On the very least, every other week. It makes a tremendous difference in your flower power. If you do that, and you watch my channel, and you watch my garden from early May through early September, these are going to look tremendous only because I am fertilizing them every Friday with a water-soluble fertilizer. It really does make a big, big difference. All right. Nice root system. That's going to go right smack dab, haha, in the center. We'll see. Okay. Then I'm just going to carve out space on the side for the nemesia. I'm really excited about this little plant. I've never ever grown it, but man, I've heard people talk about it, say such great things about the plant. I love the color. So yeah, here's a trick. Some of you may know this. If you are trying to plant something up that trails, you can plant it sort of on its side and kind of train it to go over the edge, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put this in. Oop, did I put fertilizer in? Oh, dang it. All right. Oops. Got distracted, everybody. Let me put a scoop of the slow release in the hole, and I'm going to take this pretty plant and I'm going to plant it on its side. When I go to plant the other pot, I'll bring in the camera really close so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, just in case you're wondering, now, what's she talking about? I can't see it. Okay, and then we're just going to put the other nemesia on the other side. It's funny, my girlfriend and I went plant shopping recently, and we talked about back in the day, of course we're of a certain age, combining yellow and pink was not really done a lot in the garden, but I have come to love that plant combination. So these mulberry pink colored, purple colored flowers with the yellow sunflowers, I think, are gonna be great. All right, so I mean, come on. Could not be easier. You got to use your imagination. You have to be patient. I know it doesn't look that impressive, but I promise when I bring you back on my monthly walkabouts, my garden tours, you're going to be amazed at how this fills in. So I don't even need my trowel. This is so lovely and fluffy, this soil. So we'll just dig out a hole here. So I've made my way over to our little back patio here, which is where we're going to put our rose and calibrachoa right in this pot. But before we do, oh my gosh, you all, I have to show you, I am so happy with this bed. Those of you that follow my videos know that this is my trouble bed. This bed faces east. If I pan around, faces that direction. And the trouble, the problem, the challenge is that it holds tons of water. I don't know why. We have tried and tried to figure it out, but my solution is go with the situation and find plants that can tolerate a little bit of wet feet. And we got to pause and take a look at this beautiful Siberian iris. And the variety is called Caesar's Brother. And I haven't added any color filters to this shot, you all. They are that brilliant. I mean, outstanding. And let's look right here. These two decided to hug it out. Isn't that funny? Can you all see how they're intertwined? What's in front of the Caesar Brothers are my Limelight Prime hydrangeas. This is only their second year, so sleep, creep, leap. They are creeping. Siberian Iris, same thing. It's only its second season. In front of that, I have some Pink Monarda. Again, second season. I've got a Summerific Hardy Hibiscus, second season. Hosta's been there a while. I think that's a Buddleia that's not broken dormancy. But I just planted in the front Hakanakloa. I can't ever say it. It's called Japanese forest grass. And it gets about 14 inches tall and about 2 foot wide. And it's going to add a gorgeous chartreuse pop to the front of the border. So anyhow, just had to give you all an update because I don't know when I do my next garden tour if the beautiful Siberian Iris will still be in bloom. So I thought I'd better show you that. Okay, back to what we're really here about, and that would be filling up this other aqua pot. But what you're going to notice when I come in here close, no water reservoir. And why? Because that rose over there needs as much soil as possible. I've never ever grown a rose in a pot before, but this is a huge pot. So I think it can handle that beautiful reminiscent coral rose. So I've got to fill it with soil for sure. And let's take a look here. This is the soil that I purchased. It's not on the market, it's for commercial growers. But anyways, I don't know if any of you have ever seen that soil, but this is my first year using it, so I'll for sure give you an update. Okay, I'm going to set up the camera on the tripod and let's get to planting. So next step obviously is filling this gigantic pot with some lovely soil, but before I do that, I put these little risers or pot feet. I'm going to put these underneath that big pot so that it drains properly. There's a nice big hole in the bottom of that pot for excess water to drain out of, and just lifting your pots up off the surface can help. And I guess these would be maybe only about an inch. So I'm just going to set them down here like so and put my pot on top and make sure I have it in what I think is the right spot. Stand back and take a look. Looks good. I've got it back off the edge a little bit because when my husband comes around and does weed eating, whatever, if this rose gets as large as it's supposed to, which I think maybe 3 by 3, if I'm correct, if I'm remembering correctly, for this reminiscent coral, you know, this is 2 foot wide, so it could really get big. So anyhow, I don't want him to be getting scratched by the rose thorns. So I think that's a good spot. So even though this is east facing, this is enough of a point here that this spot gets at least easily 6 hours of sun a day in the summer. So that's what a rose needs. Roses love hot. They love sun. And the little calibrachoa that's going to go around them, same kind of thing. So, okay, I have to open up this bag. So I better grab my hory knife. We'll see how much I struggle trying to get the soil out of this bag because it's a big bag for sure. Usually my husband does this for me, but I'm going to do it for myself today. So we'll see. We'll see how I manage. Oh, such beautiful soil. Absolutely. I really want to be able to lift this, but I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to. Oh gosh, nope, that's not very smart. All right, I've got to find a big scoop. So let me go do that. Come back. I don't want to kill myself. It's not worth it. I mean, I love plants, but I don't want to get an injury. So you can see, just like on the other pots, I left this about an inch above the soil line for watering. So there we go. Let me show you. I'm going to use 2 kind of fertilizers this time. Because my rose is already growing really well in that pot and has some buds, I'm going to go ahead, instead of Biotone root starter, I'm going to go ahead and put Rose Tone flower food in the center hole for the rose. And then, just like I did on the other big pots by the greenhouse, I'm going to put a scoop of the slow release fertilizer for the Calibrachoa around the outside. So that's going to work great. So we're going to need a big hole to receive this rose. In fact, I think I'm going to have to offload some of the soil. Let me grab my tray. Let's give this a look and see. Oh yeah, I think that's about right. Okay, I think I need about a cup of the rose food. Try not to get it in my face. Hard to do. All right. I cannot tell you how excited I am about this color of rose. I have a lot of roses, well, not a lot, but I do have a number of roses in my garden, and mostly they're David Austin roses, but this rose is highly disease resistant and just gets rave reviews, and it could not be, in my opinion, a more beautiful color. Okay, let's see here. I don't think it matters exactly, but let's tuck that baby in like so. Of course, watering it in will help. All right. Oh, cannot wait. Okay. Calibrachoa, let's take a look at the specs on this again. Okay, so this will get 6 to 12 inches high. And what's the spacing? About 12 inches. So again, this is a 24-inch container. And for this container, I have decided to plant 3 Calibrachoa. So we'll do 1, whoops, just kind of equal distance from each other. 2 and 3. So the last thing for me to do, of course, is to water in. You notice how I watered in the bottom half of this big pot, and there's a good sign that the drainage is working because the concrete's wet, and so I'll water in the top to give it a nice good drink to settle the soil and settle the plants into their new home. I am just anticipating a beautiful show of color with this gorgeous reminiscent coral rose and these adorable double grapefruit Calibrachoa that have yellow and pinks and kind of apricot. They change colors through the season, so I think that'll be super, super fun. Again, here I am doing something I've never done before. You know I love to experiment, and the new thing for me is not only these types of flowers, I've never grown them, but I've never grown a rose in a pot. So those of you out there that have experience growing shrub roses in big containers, Please leave your wisdom in the comments below for me and for the rest of us that watch the channel. I am anticipating that I will overwinter this big pot in my greenhouse, which I heat in the winter so it doesn't get below 50 degrees, or I might even transfer it into the garage. So I need to get online and do some research before winter comes, of course, before the cold weather, so that I can make it more likely that this gorgeous rose is going to be able to carry over from season to season. So I appreciate everybody hanging out with me today. What an exciting time of the year. Finally getting my greenhouse that is loaded with beautiful flowers. Get some of those out and into containers, eventually into the landscape. So it is full speed ahead, everybody. I wish you all happy gardening.